Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my first video of the year, so I would like to take the opportunity to wish everyone a great 2022. Let's do our best to make ourselves proud by the end of the year. So in this episode, I will show you how you can identify important zones in the market that price likes to react from, by paying attention to the decision point inside important levels of structure. So this is the movement that I'll be covering in this video. More precisely, this decision point inside here. I'll be showing you a live video that I did around the 11th of October. In the video, you'll see me doing my higher time frame analysis on euro-dollar. You'll see that price was somewhere around here when I did the prediction, and what I was trying to see is what to expect next on euro-dollar, especially after price had just broken out these important lows, and maybe even continue to move to the downside, because we still had all this space until at least the next level of structure, around here. And as you see in the video, this was actually the zone that got my attention, more than 2 weeks before price eventually reacted from there, as you can see in this movement. So this video will be divided in 2 parts. First, you'll see the recording of the live video, my thought process while I was doing my analysis, and why I thought that this would be a good level for price to react from. The reason I'm sharing this video with you is because this is a kind of movement that you can see happening quite often in the market, so I believe you can get value from it. And if you do it, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. In the second part of the video, I'm going to analyze the price action on approach to the zone, this movement in here. And I'll try to see if there was any valid setups to look for trades in there. So let's take a look at the prediction I did back in October. EU had broken these lows and now it starts compressing. To be honest, I'm not expecting EU to go up from here. In my opinion, if the idea was to go up after collecting the stop losses from these lows, I think the move would have happened already, in the sense that when this move here happened, I was expecting then price to, okay, let's carry on and retrace and go collect some orders above this high, and we'll start this price action zone. However, that didn't happen, and we had a new low. And this now starts being kind of a compression. That's what I'm expecting to happen. We still have, everyone can see, I believe, that we still have this decision point, correct? This is still fresh. So this was the decision point for price to break these lows on this left side. Even broke this one, and it was that strong that it actually broke these ones as well, which means that it's an important level. But for now, in this scale, we're looking at the daily time frame, we can see that we have, right, we have this high that never collect these orders. Meanwhile, we already have a new lower low, which means that we have now this space inside here that price never took the orders, and we have a fresh level in there. This fresh level is also, as you can see, is also aligned a little bit with, there's this decision point, there is this low, this decision point in here, this low, there is this level in here as well that respected, kind of a key M. So we had a key M in here that was not respected, so price created a high, a lower low, then created a higher high. This one broke it for like a couple of pips, so price should have done this, right? So this is what should have happened on euro, right? Price should have gone to the upside from there, but instead price reacted from here. All right, you have this spike in here, right? You had this spike, so there were orders in there, but then price, instead of going to the upside, it just went a little bit, and the sellers were strong enough to actually push price to the downside. So we broke out this structure, but now we have this level when price returns. We have this compression in here. This is basically a little bit of compression, especially if you take a look in the lower time frame. So if I'm expecting a reaction, I will be expecting more at the base of the zone instead of the extreme, more at this base. As soon as price reacts into this level of structure, but at the base, not inside the origin of this move. So for now, that's my view on euro. In terms of any possible move to the upside, I can see that there are orders in here, but this is a nice level to look for. We can see that we have still these left shoulders in here again. This was kind of a key M, maybe to be used in the future, similar to what we have in here, because this one is actually an engulf up. There's a small engulf up in there, the same way that we made this move to the upside. So we have a big key M in here as well. So we have basically this high to this low. We have this one creates a new high, but still a lower high compared to the other one. Now we created a new lower low in here. So you basically are starting to have a down move. But then what we have is price reverses and created a new higher high compared with this one, right? So we have a low, a high, a lower low, and now a higher high, similar. Low, high, lower low, higher high. So now expect the reaction in there. So we actually had this mid level in here that was maybe the origin. So then we start having different scenarios. It's not just about this low. This low is important, of course. The orders that were left behind in here, the orders that were left behind in here with this one, they need to be collected somewhere in the future. However, we also had this level in here. Okay, this mid level, it's the origin actually of this move. We actually have kind of two origins. We have the origin of the origin, kind of this move down, but then in the middle we may have a decision point that actually made a clear decision point. This is the origin of the demand that then broke this structure. So, and in here, this mid level, it basically was respected in here. So this one, this low basically took the orders from here, but we never took the orders still from here. It needs to be. There was a decision, it needs to be taken in the future. Just wait for the price action to react in there. But as you can see, we have a low, a high, a lower low, and now we have a higher high in here. And then this should have been the key M, as I mentioned before. So this, like this. Price should have done something like this. But it didn't. It kind of took in here, but even from here, we didn't create a new higher high. So a new dynamic starts. However, keep track of these levels, okay? These left shoulders, keep track of them. They are important. They are important. Another left shoulder in here. We had this one. Price should have respected in here. It didn't. It was respected in here. Okay, price should have done this. It didn't. Price broke it, and now under test, it took the orders from there. It was also aligned with this demand. You can see this is a demand. Price then reacted from there, which is also aligned with this left shoulder. Now, to the downside, where do you think price is going to? And price just had a small reaction in there and then decided to break it. So the retesting here, it's also important because these lows, again, similar to what happened in there, these lows, they never actually came to correct this origin. Even this one that broke that one, they never came to fill this space that was created after the break. In this level of structure and this one. Now let's see, price now is going down. That's actually what I'm expecting on euro for this week until at least we get to that level. So this was the level that I mentioned in the video, and as you can see, this is how price reacted from there. Now, in case you didn't understand my thought process in the video, basically this is why I was interested in this one. If we draw a line in here, we can see that price has been respecting this line for quite a while. So we have these lows that respected this line quite a few times, and this zone is important because it's the beginning of a new zone, because the decision point was made here after the strong move to the upside and breaking all these highs here on the left. So in here, there is some kind of decision point to hold price up and create this new level. After price respects this line for a few times in here, now it fakes out the level and it goes back up again. It respects again one time, two times, another fake out in here, and then price went and created this strong move to the upside. After that, when price retraced, again, coming back close to the line, another move to the upside, another move down, In here we actually have a reaction to the peep, another fake out, another move up. This one, as you saw in the video, broke this high, which creates an important zone in there. When price comes back again, it respects it one more time, and now finally it breaks it. It actually breaks all these important lows and leaves this decision point in here. And what happens afterwards is that price now respects this level, but on the opposite side. So basically we can say that we had a strong level of support that eventually become resistance, and price now bounced from there to the downside. Besides that, we also had this Quasimodo inside here. As you can see, we had this low, this high, a lower low, and this high actually, as you saw in the video, it broke this high here on the left by a couple of pips. So it actually engulfed to the upside, and then price, when it retraced all the way down, it should have been respected and made price go to the upside. But instead, it only had a small reaction somewhere inside here, and price eventually made the decision to go and break all these lows that you can see in here with this strong move to the downside. After that, price retraced, it created this high in here. However, this high never collected the orders from this decision point, which means that now we have space between this high and the decision point. And after that, price continues to move to the downside, and it created a new lower low, which now makes this high even more important for the retailers, because this high now becomes the new high in control after the new lower low is created. So what we have in here is a fresh decision point that is aligned with this important level of structure. We also have space between this high and this decision point, which is a perfect scenario to create liquidity between these two zones. Because what usually happens is when price retraces and eventually breaks this high, everyone is going to turn bullish and look for opportunities to go long in the market. And this is the type of behavior that you can see happening over and over in the market. Actually, this is one of the setups that I explained in one of my previous videos. In that video, I covered 3 or 4 setups with liquidity that you can look for around important levels of structure. You can check the link of the video in the description below. Let me know in the comments if you can identify which setup it is. Now let's take a look at how price approached the level with this movement in here, and if there was any valid price action to look for a trade inside this size. So this is what you can see in the 4-hour time frame. This was the decision point that I was talking about, and this was the high that you could see before. And we had all this space between the decision point and this previous level of structure. And the ITs apparently, they were not satisfied with that, and they even decided to create this triple top even closer to the decision point. We can see that actually this triple top is basically a reaction to this previous level of structure, to this previous low as well, but the fresh decision point was still a little bit higher inside here. In fact, the strong move to the upside, it happened during the ECB press conference, so they even used this important news to push price and to manipulate everyone in order to collect as much liquidity as possible by collecting the stop losses from all these sellers and eventually the stop losses from the breakout traders that decided to go long expecting this kind of movement. It was a win-win for the institutional traders. And this is the type of price action that you can see happening quite often. So if we take a look at the 2-hour time frame, this is what you can see. We have this strong move to the upside because of the news, as I mentioned before. After that, we have this low in here that is holding price up. Eventually, price reacted from the decision point. And now basically we have this zone inside here that price is fighting for. And as you can see, we start having this kind of compression in the 2-hour time frame. And eventually we have this first break to the downside with this low. After that, price respected the high and it created a new lower low. And in here, price pauses, and now it's going to make a decision. It will either carry on the move to the upside, or it's going to break these lows that have been holding price up. And what it does is, it decides to break it. And after it breaks, this becomes a new decision point. And now we have the confirmation that we needed in order to look for sells inside this decision point. And as you can see, price now was free to go all the way to the downside. So this was actually our best zone to look for the sell inside this level. Now, if you want to talk about targets, it depends on the scale that you are looking at. If you take into consideration the analysis that we did before, we could have held the trade all the way down. Because as you can see, there was still space until the next level of structure. Even if you consider this high in here, there was still all this space that needed to be filled. So you could have held the trade all the way down at least until here, or even further down until somewhere inside the zone. There was actually another opportunity for sales. After price created a new lower low in here, we had another Quasimodo pattern inside here. Because we had this high, this low, this higher high, a new lower low that completely broke these previous lows, and then price retraced, came and collected these left shoulder orders and this fresh decision point in there. And after that, price continued to move to the downside. So this would have been our second entry opportunity in order to catch the move to the downside, especially because this low still didn't react from the previous level of structure, which was around this line that I marked before, or even further down somewhere in here. And if you wanted to enter in this trade with price action confirmation, we actually had confirmation in there. Let me just zoom in a little bit. And as you can see, we have these lows in here. It was holding price up. Price got close there, or basically reacted from there. And after that, we have this move to the downside. There you go, your confirmation that price wants to go down after reacting from there. We still actually had a new spike because this high was higher than this one. Perfect. And after that, price eventually carried on to the downside. So this was our price action confirmation. After the engulf here, you could have looked for trades on the retest. Before I go, as you have noticed, I always like to make a review of the episode and give you some recommendations. So here it is. I will start with the bigger picture. It's important to look at a higher time frame to be able to understand the full story. Where is price coming from? Where does price want to go? The best setups are the ones where the lower time frame is aligned with the higher time frame. When you see space in the higher time frame between two levels of structure in the market, you can try to catch the move when trading in that direction, and maybe that's going to be one of the best trades that you'll ever have. However, be aware that price needs to be in the right place in order to catch that move. Don't expect every trade to be a home run. And last, look for space between fresh decision points and levels of structure, highs or lows. These decision points are a great place to look for trades. There is a reason why price leaves these zones behind. We just need to be patient and wait for price to get to those zones. And my recommendation for this episode is for you to go find 3 similar setups and see how price reacts when it gets to that level. Watch this video again if you need to understand the setup, or you can watch the previous video I mentioned before, where I explained setups with liquidity around important levels of structure. Besides that, I also made a video on Eurodollar explaining how you could have predicted the reversal around this area. In that video, the focus was on the approach towards the zone. So basically, I focused on the price action that we usually see when price is about to reverse, which occur inside this zone. While in this video that you are watching, the focus was more on identifying the zone where price could react from on the left side. So in the example of the previous video, it would have been here. In this case, it was this one. And not so much the approach towards the zone. So basically, there are those two moments. You can identify when the zone is created, and the second moment is the approach towards the zone, to see if you actually have valid price action when price is reacting from this level. So if you combine both of these videos, you'll have a good idea on where to look for setups and what kind of price action you should expect before looking for your trade. And basically that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed and you got value from the video, and if you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It really makes a big difference. And let me know in the comments your feedback about the video. Which part did you like the most, or what do you think that I should improve for the next videos? Thank you for watching, guys, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Obrigado.